Okay, so how do you get 140 horsepower out of a Milwaukee 8 touring or softail 114 motor without touching the engine? You fit a TTS Rotrex supercharger conversion. Just simply by bolting this on, which is bolted on with 5 bolts. These here bolts here. Put the 5 bolts around the case. You bore a 20mm 3/4 inch hole in the chain case, front cover. You have a seal that goes between the supercharger, drivetrain and the engine, and the supercharger's on.
Yeah, not waiting for any lag to disappear. It's 8!
That's it, the supercharger's on. All you've got to do now is connect the intercooler with a couple of short pieces of silicone hose. Put the intercooler on. You put the plenum chamber on, connect it up with a couple more silicone hoses, 2 550cc injectors, a remap, stronger clutch springs, and you've got 140 horsepower, 140 foot-pound of torque without going into the engine. Now the good thing is that just by changing the pulley ratio, we can go from the 10 pounder boost that we're offering to people who want 140 horsepower without touching the engine. By changing the pulley ratio of the supercharger, we can up that to 18 pounder boost. And by changing the cam, the throttle body out to a 64mm, and put in some 117 miler pistons in, we can give you over 200 horsepower. So still minor work. The cam that you put in is not a super wild cam. Zipper's RS468 cam is ideal. It gives you tremendous torque. You're looking at 180 to 200 foot-pound of torque and 200 plus horsepower without going to monster engines. You don't need a 146, you don't need a 131, you don't need a 128, you don't need a 124. You can go for a 117 just because it's a forged piston from Marla and the Screaming Eagle kit. And you got yourself 200 horsepower running on pumped gas. It's fully intercooled. The plenum chamber is designed so it follows the lines of the jugs and the cylinder head. Built-in blow-off valve behind, so you don't even have a blow-off valve sticking out like on some of the cheap kits that you see out there on turbos and the like. The blow-off valve is totally hidden, so cosmetically it looks really, really nice. Big intercooler that gives next to no pressure drop, but really does a good job on cooling the charge. In the kit, we give you a bigger oil cooler for the engine, because obviously you're making more heat, because you're making more power, so we give you a bigger oil cooler. We give you the bracketry to move the regulator rectifier up and to mount the oil cooler. The intercooler fits on the stock mounts on the bike, so you don't have any extra mounts. It's only 2 bolts, one either side. So you've got 2 bolts there, 3 bolts here, 5 bolts the other side. Job's a fish. You might not get that, but anyway. So it is a very, very easy kit to fit. It's superbly engineered. I say you can go 10 pounds of boost, you go 18 pounds of boost. If you want to go racing, you can go 24 pounds of boost. And you can, with a wilder cam, bigger engine, you could be running well over 300 horsepower. And it's not going to break the bank. Right, so a little bit more information for you how this all works. This is the main supercharger bracket. You can see we simply drive off the T70 Torx bolt on the end of the crank. So we made a drive spigot with a T70 Torx fitting. It's actually a bit better than a T70 Torx fitting. It's a tighter fit. Very short spigot to this side, 2 bearings and a seal. the seal between this and the primary case is there. So we just glue that in place so we don't get the little tiny bit of oil that could come out of the case going anywhere. Pulley bolts onto this side. So you get a 145mm pulley for the crank drive straight off. Belt run. Then at the top we've got two different pulleys. Low boost pulley, which is 105mm, and a high boost pulley, which is 85mm. So we go between 10 and 18 foot-pound of torque. Manual eccentric tensioner, belt run to give lots of belt wrap. Supercharger oil tank. So again, unlike the car kits where Rotrex supply an oil tank, a finned oil tank, there's nowhere for it on the bike. So we build into the CNC machine case our own oil tank with the inlet and outlet, and then we put an oil filter hidden away on the bike before it goes up to the supercharger inlet. Comes with temperature gauge, so you can keep an eye on your oil temperatures. The supercharger oil doesn't like to run above 80 degrees. We don't usually see it go above 60, but you know, you get some extreme weathers, you might see it running a bit hot. Let it cool down for a while if it happens. It's yet to happen, but it could do. So that it's as simple as that. You know, you've got the pulley there, tensioner, jockey wheel to get the belt wrap, 5 bolts to keep it in place. There's a bolt hole underneath there, so you take this off before you put the bracket onto the engine. So you've got the 5 bolts, bolt it on, put your eccentric tensioner on there, put your pulley on. You've already got your supercharger on, you put it on with the supercharger on. The outlet of the supercharger comes down and round, which you'll see on this side. Yeah, so the air filter's here. You can run a waterproof sock if you want, if you're an all-weather guy. We have to put the foot pegs further out by this amount to get it all in. But a lot of guys like the foot pegs further out, and I'm thinking of offering just a foot peg repositioning kit, because guys with big thighs really struggle to get their legs on the narrow footboards, and it makes a much more comfortable position. Sure, you lose a little bit of ground clearance, but as long as you're aware that there's a little bit less ground clearance, you know, it's not like you can't go around bends. So you can see here, okay, so this is the bracket for repositioning the regulator rectifier unit and bolting to the frame. So you can see just here, they're a little bit fiddly to fit, so that fits in there quite nicely. And then we've got another little bracket that holds the top oil cooler. So that sits there. And this is the supercharger oil cooler. The supercharger runs its own oil. So the pumps are inside the supercharger. So it pumps oil around the supercharger, out the supercharger into the oil cooler, out the oil cooler back to the tank. Now, when it comes to changing the oil filter, obviously you've got to remove this, which, because it's so simple, just 5 bolts. You know, okay, it's maybe putting 15 minutes to the time to change an oil filter, but it's no big deal. It all comes off in one piece. You move it out the way, get your oil filter changed, put it back in, put it back on. It's not a biggie. We shorten the gear change rod. We supply a new rod with the kit, and pushing the gear lever further out, we supply a new gear lever shaft, so that fits in there. So it's all covered. You've got nothing else to buy. And you can map these with the Power Vision. Dynajet's Power Vision works really well with our supercharger kits. It's mapped against RPM, against throttle angle. We don't need to worry about boost, because the boost is the same every time. Every time you open the throttle 10%, you get the same amount of boost per RPM, and the same with 100%. So all the way through, you get the same repeatable boost, unlike a turbo where it depends on the load whether you get more boost or less boost. So you get a completely linear power delivery. There's no dips and weaves in the power band. 140 horsepower, 140 foot-pound of torque. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. I raced this bike last year. Only went to one meeting with it on the low boost setting. We ran 11.2, 118 mile an hour, complete with standard everything, standard engine, standard wheels, standard tin, no weight reduction. And I'm not the lightest guy in the world. And it was my first time at the track with this bike. So to run and foot shifting. So we ran, like I say, 11.2, 118 mile an hour. We went back running 18 pound of boost. And it wasn't a very good day. There was not a lot of traction, but we ran 10.6 at 128 mile an hour. And that could have been down in the 9s if we could have got off the line with a decent tyre, because we're still running the stock tyres, stock Harley tyres. We're not running any, drag maxias or street ET tyres. It's just a standard bike. And when I mean standard, there's no tricks on it. It's not running race fuel or anything. It's standard. So colossal amount of improvements to be had by having a lighter bike, lighter rider, more boost still, race fuel, E85, C16, whatever. This could be a really competitive package for the guy who wants to go drag racing. We could run 24 pound of boost, and it's all the same kit. Once you've bought it, you can upgrade for next to nothing, and that's the beauty of it. You don't need monster cams, big valve heads, super high lift cams, 4.6 inch pistons. Think of the friction on a 4.6 mil piston. Those piston rings are the biggest amount of friction in an engine is the piston rings on the bore. So if you're going up half an inch on the bore, you've got 1.5 inches more piston rings. So you've got a colossal amount more friction by going to a 4.6. Not only that, you've got the bigger bore, so the piston rocks, and it rocks more because it's further away from, the outside is further away from the pin. So it rocks more, so your ring sealing is not so good. And ring sealing on these is a big thing for horsepower. So if you keep a small bore, like the 117, you mark the pistons a very close piston to bore clearance, you get really good ring seal, and you make some really good horsepower without going to a monster engine. You don't have to put wild valve springs in that are going to cater for 0.6 of an inch lift. It doesn't hurt an engine in the same way that putting super high lift cams in, big valve springs where you're putting more load on the push rods, more load on your cam followers, more load on the valve because the rocker is pushing the valve over at more acute angle. So all those components that Harley put in there can almost have the same lifespan as a stock engine. When you're cruising around, you're not putting any more load on the engine because you haven't got big pistons and you're not making boost. So it's a very sweet way to make a lot of horsepower. And the nice thing is also it's linear horsepower that's there every time. No throttle lag, it just pulls and pulls from idle to red line. And anybody who buys one of these for sure is not going to be disappointed. If you like what we do, like and subscribe, click below. Job's a fish. We're queuing up for the 4th run of the day. Times are coming down. As you can see, apart from our supercharger, the bike is absolutely standard wheels, standard brakes, standard swing arm, standard tyres. The bike's only done 200 miles, but we're putting the time down, foot shifting. So starting off this morning with an 11.1, well sorry, this afternoon with 11.1, and not a lot of traction to start with. Traction's coming better.